Hi everyone, Matt from Pre-Sales at NetSupport here, and today we have the first of a two-part video series where I'm going to show you how to set up the user provisioning feature within classroom.cloud. Now, what this user provisioning feature does is it allows you to automatically create user accounts within the classroom.cloud web portal from your Azure Active Directory. So if I just jump into my Azure Active Directory now, and I'll explain what I'm going to do today. So I'm basically going to provision 3 users. So I'm going to provision 1 user with teacher permissions within classroom.cloud, 1 with safeguarding permissions, and 1 with both teacher and safeguarding permissions. So you can see I've got 2 security groups here, 1 for teachers, 1 for my safeguarding users. And if we just jump in here and take a look at the members, so you can see in this group here, I've got my teacher account and the account we're going to apply the teacher and safeguarding features to. And in my safeguarding group, I have got my safeguarding user and that same account where we're going to apply the teacher and safeguarding permissions. Now, before we get started and set things up within Azure Active Directory, there's a couple of bits I just want to mention about the classroom.cloud web portal. A couple of things you need to make sure you've checked off before you start following along with this video. So first of all, you're going to need to be signed in as an organizational admin into classroom.cloud. And the reason for that is some of the settings we're going to be using today are under this organization menu. So if you're not signed in as an organizational admin, you won't be able to see this and you won't be able to access those settings. The second thing is you need to have set up the integration to allow users to sign in with their Microsoft accounts. And the easiest way to check that is to go into organization, all users, and check you've got at least 1 account with this Microsoft icon next to it, and that will indicate that that integration has been set up there. So if you've checked off all those points, jump back into your Azure Active Directory web portal, and you're going to want to expand out the applications menu and click on Enterprise Applications. Now, your screen might look a little bit different to mine, depending on what other applications you might have linked in with. Your list here could be a little bit bigger. What you should see is this classroom.cloud entry here. And this is something that we automatically put in when you set up the integration with Microsoft accounts. And it also allows us the permissions to integrate with School Data Sync and Microsoft Teams. Now, we're not going to be using this particular application today. We're going to be setting up a new one. So don't click on this. We don't need it in this video. So what you're going to want to do is click on New Application and then create your own application. Make sure the bottom option here is selected and then give a name to your app. And this can be anything you like. So I'm just going to call mine classroom.cloud user provisioning. And then once you've done that, click on create. Now, this might take a minute or two to create the application. So if you're following along in the video, it's a good time to pause, nip off, go and get yourself a cup of tea or coffee. And then by the time you've got back, the application should have created. Hopefully, it's not going to take us too long here, but we shall see. And there we go. That's created there now. And what should happen after it's created, it should drop you into the overview page for your applications, or for this application, should I say. So from this left-hand side menu here, you're going to want to select provisioning and then click on the get started. From the drop down, click on automatic and you should see some options appear. So we need to supply a tenant URL and a secret token, and they can be obtained from your classroom.cloud web portal. So if we jump back, under the organization menu, if you click on settings, integrations, Microsoft, and then onto the user provisioning tab, we can just copy the tenant URL there, paste that in. Now, you will notice that there is a region ID in the center of this URL. So if you're using a region other than the UK one, your URL is going to look a little bit different to mine, but that's nothing to worry about. Yeah, don't panic. It's not going to affect anything setting up. So secondly, we need the secret token. So back into the classroom.cloud web portal, click on generate here and then copy, and then just paste that token in there. and then you're going to want to click on test connection. So that has passed there, so we're all good. And from here, we just need to click on save. So once that's saved, you'll see we've got a new option down here called mappings. So if you click on that and expand it, and you're going to want to select the bottom option here, so the provision as your Active Directory users, and then scroll down to the bottom of this page and tick show advanced options, and scroll down again, and right at the bottom you're going to want to click on this review your schema here. So that will bring you to this page, and what you're going to want to do is click in this field with all the text in, and you're going to want to select everything and simply delete it. Now if we go back to our classroom.cloud web portal, you'll see we've got a button here marked download schema.json. If you click on this, it will download a JSON file. Locate that from your file manager, and you're going to want to open that file within a text editor. Now I've prepared one earlier, so here's my text editor with that schema.json file. So I've got all the text selected here, so I've just click on copy back into the Azure web page and paste that in there, and then click on save. Just confirm when it asks you if you're sure, and then that's all done. So if we just get that out the way. Now what you're going to want to do here is go up one level, so select your provisioning, and this doesn't always sort of refresh automatically, and the way to know whether this is kind of showing the correct information, if you look at the mappings here, this top option here that says provision Active Directory groups should actually say no. So I'm just going to force a refresh of the browser here. Ignore the warning about any changes not being saved. So just give that a chance to load up, and if we expand the mappings there, you can see that's now changed to no. So that's actually pulled through the changes in the schema there. Now what you're going to want to do is expand out this settings option. Now I'm not going to fill this notification email in on this demonstration, but I recommend that you do. So what this will do, if you've got any issues, if there's a problem with the user provisioning, it will send an email to the email address here. So you're going to want to pop in an email there, and then just tick that box there, click on save, and that will update that information. So if we go back to home once you've done that, and if we go back into applications, enterprise applications, click on our classroom.cloud application we've just set up, and then if we click on provisioning again, and then you're going to want to click on users and groups, and then add a user or group, and then where it says non-selected, we click on that. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add in my teacher and safeguarding group. So what that's going to do is it's going to tell me to provision any users that it finds in those groups. So if we just do a quick search here, so that's the group there, and do a search for my safeguarding group, and that one there, and click on select and assign. So I've now got those two groups set up, so any users in these groups will be provisioned into classroom.cloud. Now the last step here is actually to sort of turn the provisioning on. Now before I do that, what I'm going to do is manually provision a user just to check that everything is working correctly. So if you click on this provision on demand, and then if I just grab the email address of my teacher only account and paste that in there, so it's found my teacher. So if I select them and click on provision, and you can see there we've got a whole list of successful actions. So that user should now be provisioned into classroom.cloud. So if we jump in here and click on all users, you'll see there that that teacher account has appeared. Now you'll notice there are no sites or roles assigned. Now this is normal, so if you have followed along, you've got to this point and you're worried that this is blank, don't be. What is going to happen is these are going to be populated the first time the user logs on. Now the very last step, if we just go back one level, it's back into the provisioning here. Very last step is to turn on the provisioning. So we kind of manually provisioned a user there just to test things, but we want this sort of running in the background, automatically provisioning users as and when it needs to. So to do that, you simply click on the Start Provisioning. Now, I'm going to do this now because I need to provision those other couple of users into my environment. However, I recommend that you don't do this until you've watched the second video, and I'm going to show you why now. So actually, if I just click on that, just let that start. So if we just open a new private window here and go to the classroom.cloud website, and I go to sign in with my newly provisioned teacher. So we pop in their email address there, and just let me grab the password here. What you'll see is we've got an error message and we can't sign in. And the reason for this is because although the account has been set up within classroom.cloud, we've not allocated any permissions to that account. So the web portal is basically blocking the login because it doesn't know what user rights to sign that user into the portal as. So that's why I recommend you don't start and have the automatic provisioning set up yet. Wait until we've set the permission mappings up, which is what I'm going to show you in part 2 of this video series. So thank you very much for watching today, and I'll see you again in part 2.